Hi guys, welcome back to Suero TV. I'm Lotak Pata, your usual host. We are back. Continuing the interview with Dumi Lopang because I felt like we didn't get enough from him. We need to get deeper and dig deeper into the creative entrepreneur he is, and he's been done a successful job at it. So we'd like to tap into him. Probably you will also get inspired by this as a creative, as an entrepreneur, or thinking about actually doing entrepreneurship as well. Welcome back, Dumi.
Thank you very much for having me again.
Era, thank you for coming back, because we know your busy schedule, and doing this for us is actually quite very appreciated. So Dumi, last time we were talking about your journey into basically spreading your wings into other countries such as Zambia, as well as Malawi. Now, but I wanted you emphasized on Zambia. How is it going now? I remember you told you went and set up, you made sure that you don't just dive in. You have to find out the culture. Don't come in with the thinking you know everything because you've run a radio station before, therefore you can run it in Zambia. No, you have to understand the culture. You have to understand the Zambians. How is it going?
Oh, it's going very well. So the first couple of years were just trying to turn things around and getting everybody to do things differently.
Yeah.
And most importantly, getting them to understand why things have to be done differently. And as you know, with anything, change is always a very difficult process. But luckily, I think if you take people along on the journey and they, you try and capacitate as many of the people there instead of just coming in and doing wholesale changes and firing people.
Yeah.
But you take people who you find there and let them see the vision. And generally, it works out. So yeah, the first 2 years were just about sort of turning things around.
Yeah.
And then once that was settled, I think, it's been very good. Obviously, with Zambia, the currency issue has been
a challenge.
Yeah, a bit of a challenge. When we went in 2014, for example, the kwacha was stronger than the pula. $1 was 5 kwacha, and as we speak today, the pula is stronger than the kwacha, and $1 I think is about 16 kwacha. So that has been the only challenge. But in terms of the business itself, it has done very well.
It's a youth radio station as well?
No, it's not. Funny enough, it's actually an adult contemporary radio station. It was the first private radio station in Zambia. So it targets an older demographic.
Yeah.
Although the population in Zambia is a bit interesting because 75% of the population is under the age of 30. So typically in sub-Saharan Africa, that number is about 60. But in Zambia, it's higher. So you got a very young
generation there. Just like Botswana. Botswana also has quite a large number of youth.
So we target adult contemporary, but we also take into cognizance that a big part of the market or the audience are younger, but we definitely not a youth broadcaster there. Unlike here.
Yeah. So Dumi, I want us to get into the creative entrepreneurship business in Botswana in particular. Do you think it's hard to run a creative business in Botswana? What is your view on this?
It is hard, but I think it's getting better. I remember when we started Yarona FM in '99. It was very difficult to get business, especially as a youth broadcaster, because somehow when advertisers listened, they said, "No, man, you people, you are playing around."
And we were listening. The youth, as the youth at the time, we were listening and having a good time.
Here's the challenge that we had: the decision makers, instead of the marketing, in terms of the marketing managers, whatever.
Yeah.
They listened, they preferred Gabs FM because they were in the target market at Gabs FM. So what they would do is that they would push business to Gabs FM because they enjoyed listening to Gabs FM.
It was relatable to them.
They did not look at their product that they were looking after and said, okay, does this product match, say, Yarona FM or Gabs FM or RB2 or whatever. So it took time.
Yeah.
It took time, until guys realized that, wow, okay, So what seems like noise to an older market is actually popular with the younger market. And then you started getting brands coming into alignment to say, okay, if this station is targeting 16 to 30, our brand says its target market is 16 to 30, then this is where we need to be. But it took time. I think it took us about a year and a half of getting the market. So that was 99. Today, it's still very difficult for people in the creative space to be taken seriously. But it has improved.
Yeah.
And I think it's the whole thing, if you're in the creative space, because when you're talented, it comes so easy that when somebody's watching you, they think, but this is so easy, why should we pay?
Yeah.
For example, if you see somebody come and they want to do a quick portrait of you, and they do it in 3 minutes.
It's that gift.
Then you say, no, man, but how can I pay you 15,000? You just did this thing in 3 minutes. So because that appreciation of talent has taken time in our market. And that's why people say there are no celebrities in Botswana.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, no matter how talented someone is, people generally don't give you those kudos or that recognition until it's too late, you know. So it is very difficult, but it starts from the industry itself.
Yeah. The
industry itself has to take
itself seriously. Yeah.
So you need to make sure you're professionals. So you must think of yourself as a business. The problem is that a lot of us in the space don't think of ourselves as businesses. Once you think of yourself as a business, then you put all the structures in place. What does a business have? There has to be management. There's accounts. There's all of that. There's marketing. There's PR. So there are all those elements that you'd find in a business. So when you are an artist, for example, you need to have a management team around you.
Yeah.
And you will see the most successful local artists, for example, are those with a proper management team.
System. Yeah, there are systems in place. Yeah.
You know, because then when you engage corporate, you are engaging them at a peer level. You're not coming with sort of like cap in hand, asking for please help, and then you're part of their CSR budget. But now when you come to them, you are coming at a B2B level, and you're saying there will be a return on investment by aligning yourself with my brand.
Yeah.
So then it goes now to the marketing budget.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is part of marketing, and this is how we're going to measure the return on investment.
Yeah.
Unlike where typically it used to be that, no, we help artists out of our corporate social responsibility.
Yeah.
So then the mentality then changes.
Yeah.
And then you start getting true value.
Yes.
Because you are looking and engaging at a business to business level.
So basically it starts with the creators.
Absolutely.
They need to take themselves seriously for their corporates or whoever they're working with to take them seriously so that they can, but also as much as they're working hard to do this, the corporate also needs a mindset change.
Yeah.
The mindset change also needs to happen because these are their jobs. You see, this is how we are also beating unemployment. Yeah. Like you said, let's appreciate the talent. That's what comes with a gift. It doesn't mean they will not, just because they can do it so quickly, we shouldn't, there's no value in it. Absolutely. You know, that's a gift. Now, what can we do as a country though now? We've talked about corporate. What can we do now as a country to make sure that we are supporting the creators are employed, the creators are getting the jobs, you know, as much as we've done, they're doing their part of the corporate. Now I'm talking high level now. This is, as a country, as a leadership, what can we do?
So at a 100%, at a macro level, I think our government over the last few years, especially under the latest administration, I think has really done a lot for the creative space. I think you're seeing, the creative sector has been identified as one of those key sectors. Even if you are looking for funding from a CEDA or whatever, it's identified as one of those sectors that have need to be prioritized in terms of funding because they see that it is an enabler to reducing unemployment because the most unemployed are the young people. Yeah. And that the creative space, I mean, it potentially can be a 3 to 5 billion business in Botswana. Which then if you look at tourism and other sectors, you see, wow, this thing can be a major contributor. So our government has really done its part in terms of putting at a policy level all the right things. Implementation of those policies, like many other things, is a different matter.
Yeah.
Is it easy for people in the creative space to access all this funding and all these wonderful things? That's a different matter completely. But from a government perspective, and
they're doing their part,
they're doing their part. And I mean, I think when you see there was a lot of controversy and noise around the Steve Harvey thing. And I think the problem is that most of us see the headlines. Steve Harvey, 400 million. Nobody ever gets to find out the detail of exactly how that 400 million was is meant to be spent. And I think if we went into the detail, you'd find that, wow, actually, the creative sector will benefit from it.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, there's always a communication problem. Conspiracy theories thrive when the communication is poor.
Yeah.
So I think on the part of government as well, sometimes the communication is lacking to let people know exactly
what are we doing?
What are we planning to do with this? So I'm lucky enough to know how that money is going to be spent.
Yeah, and it's definitely worth it.
And it's definitely worth it. You know, and I think what we need to be looking at is creating an enabling environment that allows for creatives to thrive. So, for example, now, I always talk about this. When you drive out of Cape Town going towards Somerset West, on the left, there's a huge set that even international people come to use in South Africa to shoot different movies. What government should be doing should be putting infrastructure like that in place.
Yeah.
Create studios similar to Tyler Perry's,
for instance.
And then we rent it out. So they will be. So in terms of cost recovery, it shouldn't be given for free. But what will then happen is people who want to do documentaries, who want to do sitcoms, who want to shoot movies,
they have that.
They can have that, and you pay, but at a subsidized rate initially to ensure that the industry grows.
This is actually a very good point, because now I was actually going to get to the point where your radio station hosts a lot of youth. Sometimes whether they're there to work or they're there just to hang around a creative space. You know, I've seen that a lot. And we're going to talk about that after the break. We'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back. We have Dumi Lopang here. We're really digging deep into the entrepreneurship space, particularly in the creative industry. Dumi is a creative entrepreneur, doing quite well for himself, and I think this is a conversation for us to really dig into and understand him. Let's continue where we are. Dumi, I was talking about having the youth. Hosting them. You are basically hosting them there, and they feel at home at Yarona FM for them to be creative and for you, they want to share their music, but sometimes they just hang around there just for creative or feeling at home. You've already shared in ways what we can actually do to support the creators, but what else can we do? I would like us to encourage other creative entrepreneurs who are actually doing quite well on how we can host and guide these creative entrepreneurs as well, because sometimes when they're in that environment, they're able to see how a business is run, how a creative business is run. Okay, can we just share on what your vision there is and what are you doing there? Because I think it's deliberate.
I think what used to happen back in the days is that a lot of young people would just rock up to Yarona FM and they say they want to see, and we would be open. Obviously, this is pre-COVID. And this is when we were still on Kaunda Road. So we had a yard.
This is African Molo there.
Yes. So we had a yard where people can come in and hang in the parking lot and you can chat to them and whatever. And it's through seeing that they were inspired. So it started there for you to actually see that. So my advice would be for young people to go out and seek internships, whatever. A number of guys who we hired back then would come in just asking for internships. So can we just help out for free? I don't want to be paid anything. And when a space opens up for employment, those will be the first people we hire. Why? Because they already have the on-the-job training.
So, and you've seen them, how they do.
So a lot of young people need to go out and knock on doors and ask just for the opportunity to work in that space. So at our TV station, we're doing that a lot.
Yeah.
I think we've hosted about, in the last year, probably about 40 interns from different institutions.
Yeah, yeah.
So that they come and learn and study. And from those 40 or so that we've hosted, I think we've probably hired about 4. And it's through them coming, observing, learning.
Yeah.
They're younger, they've got fresh ideas.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
And unlike in the past, where there were no institutions where people could go for formal training in the creative space, nowadays there are a number of institutions that you can go and actually get a professional certificate for a craft that you love, you know. But people, the young people must go and knock. Creators must go and knock. I was at a wedding recently and I was with Mutusi Lesole, Zaura. So he was telling me that, you know, I have never had anybody come to me and say, we know you're in this space. I'm an aspiring fashion designer. Can I come and just, you know, intern, go and can I come and just observe and learn? Can I come and... And not one person has ever approached it.
Yeah.
So it starts there. There needs to be a hunger that comes from you as the person in this creative space.
Yeah.
Go and observe, see how these people do it. It's a TV station, radio station. In future, you can have your own, whether it's an online TV station or an online radio station, but you would have been in the space and you would have learned through observation how the different departments bring everything together. And for you to hear the final product, whether it's radio, or for you to see the final product if it's TV.
Yeah, so basically the creative businesses, the successful ones won't come to you. You need to go to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you need to go to
and
them.
You need to be patient. I just think a lot of young people these days...
Is it not Instagram?
It's
the success, overnight success.
You know...
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
The likes, the followings. I'm always shocked. You know, when I'm on these online, I don't spend a lot of time on these online digital platforms. But whenever I'm there and I see somebody has got 5,000 followers or 10,000 followers or 15,000, and then I try and see what it is that is attracting people to this following, and I can't understand it.
Yeah,
I can understand if for me, if I'm in there and it's a Warren Buffett or whoever, and I can. But some of these people who have got all these likes, so you don't
see the value.
I don't know why people... Anyway, so what's happening is that a lot of people want this instant. They're like this popcorn generation microwave.
So that's what they're attracted to.
So that's what they're attracted to. So like, but if you go and you say go in, intern for 6 months, don't think, take time, learn and this thing, opportunities will come. They're like, oh, me, I need to hustle. You know, hey, 6 months, just there. How am I going to get to thing with 6 months? I'm just going to be sitting, being whatever.
Yeah.
People must be patient. Because what then happens is that if you put in that time, the acceleration can happen. So you can take time for 6 months, 12 months. And there's somebody who has decided they don't want to go this route, and they look like they're ahead of you because they're on social media, they're whatever. But in reality, you find after that time of patience, of building, of sowing, when it's time to reap and to harvest now, you find that you are far ahead of this person who tried to rush the process.
It doesn't work like that. It's the universe,
so
everything.
People sit, and I mean, if you think about, we started the Yarona FM in 99, 23 years later, so I'm great. 23 years
and
later.
you're still talking about the struggles of the business.
Absolutely.
So but you are still going.
To this very day, we still have struggles. We have businesses that we have closed. We have businesses that we've restructured. We have businesses that we still, to this very day, cash is king in business. So you can have revenue showing, we turn over 20 million, 30, 40 million. If that revenue doesn't translate to cash in the bank, and you can't pay staff, you can't pay for lights and electricity, it means nothing. Yeah. It's just vanity.
Yeah.
To say
and also the bottom line.
That's it. You know, to say I'm a 50 million pull-up business, you learn with time that that's just vanity.
Yeah.
The reality is cash in the bank.
Yeah.
So to this very day, those are struggles that we have. Being in the creative space, media, that's one of the few costs that are variable for companies. So when a company is going through a difficult time, when the economy is tough, When guys sit the exco of a bank and they say, guys, we need to tighten things. The first place that they will look to is the marketing manager and say, you need to cut.
Because he's the big, they always have one of the biggest budgets. Yeah.
And that's the easiest one because Babereki, if you want to cut down on your staff complement, there's a process that you have to follow. You know, legally.
It's a long one, yeah.
But with marketing, all they do is you just get a letter or we are terminating, we are giving you 30 days notice to terminate the contract. And within 30 days, a marketing manager can reduce their budget even by 50%. And then that's help the bottom line, say, of the bank or whatever corporate it is. So it means that when times are difficult, we feel the brunt of that, especially in the media space, etc., because that's where people usually cut. So that is a reality that is going to go on even
10 years from now.
God willing, 20, 30 years time. And you just need to learn how to ride these waves. During the good times, how do you save? How do you put systems in place that when times are difficult,
you can pay the bills.
From what you created and put aside in the good times, it will allow you and sustain you during the difficult times.
Absolutely. This is actually so. Dumi, I want us to talk about the mindset. You just mentioned the mindset of basically the young entrepreneurs not willing to put in the work because they're looking at this overnight success, fake success on Instagram, you know, and the importance of putting in the work over time, guys. But I will also want us to talk about the mindset of Batswana as a country, because I want you to just touch back to the Steve Harvey thing. And you were saying you are privileged enough to know what's happening behind the scenes. What is this? It's actually a very important project for us, as much as we're going to, you know, tear down the government and whatever. I don't have that privilege, and I saw this as an opportunity. You know, could it be that also as Batswana, we are just too negative as a country instead of being more optimistic? Say, okay, let's see how this works. Thank you, Mr. President. Let's see how this will work and be more optimistic, support the government and see how it works out. I mean, this guy is an international star. Obviously, he's going to bring us something that we don't have.
You know...
Yeah, what can we do there?
I'm always amazed when this report that comes out which says Botswana are probably, I think only maybe Afghanis are happier than us. But we are one of the least happiest countries in the world according to this survey. And it baffles me because truly, as a nation and somebody who has traveled quite extensively around the continent, we are truly blessed. I mean, people outside... Well, you know, when you go into a place and you look for business opportunities, then they say, you tell them I'm from Botswana. They're like, oh, you are from a rich country. Guys give you open doors. They give you audience because of the image that we have, that Botswana is this rich country, and that if you have somebody who wants to invest from Botswana, you must take these guys seriously as an investor from the West or whatever. The stuff that we have available for us, yes, times are difficult if you compare over the years. But we still have so much for us. I mean, that's available that you don't find anywhere else. I don't know what has led to us, instead of seeing the glass as half full, we're seeing it as half
empty. Yeah.
So that needs to change. And how do we change that? I believe media has a big role to play in it. Unfortunately, the advent of social media and digital platforms has had its positives, but has had its negatives as well. But I still believe that mainstream media has a role to play. I always say when I speak to the guys at Yarona FM, I say, when you come on air at the beginning of your show, and then after your shift is done in 3 or 4 hours, firstly, before you came on, what was your intention? What did you say I intend to achieve by the time my show ends? In terms of what emotions do I want to evoke in my listeners throughout this?
The vibe, the
I want
energy.
to educate, I want to entertain, I want to think. But at the end of that 4 hour shift, have I made a difference to the listener? Have I changed? And I said, we are a youth broadcaster. This is the future of the nation. We should be deliberate. Yes, cover all the issues. Yes, ask the difficult questions and whatever. But we should be deliberate about trying to make young people believe that the future is bright. And let's point them and show them the opportunities that maybe they are not seeing.
Yeah.
Because when you get on social media, it's just negative stuff, criticism, whatever. So if we are doing our job as a youth broadcaster correctly, we will be interrogating Chili Boy.
Yeah.
To say, Chili, you've said this and this. We will say, and these are young ministers, Musi Khafela, you've said this because your ministry looks after CEDA and whatever in the creative space. Are these guys implementing the vision of government? Are they implementing correct CEDA, for example? And then we must say, bring in the right stakeholders, give them the platform, and then give young people the platform to speak directly to these people who they would never get a chance to meet and engage through our platform. And say to them, guys, you see, the opportunities are there. We have the CEDA CEO, and you can hear he's asking your questions. You are telling him where you are meeting challenges and whatever. And the CEDA CEO is saying, I promise you, give me 2 weeks. These things will be addressed.
Yes.
And most of them would never get an opportunity, young people, to go and knock at Thabo Thamani's door. But we can be that enabler, that platform that gives them the opportunity to talk to these people.
Yes.
And if we can show them that there is so much in place. I mean, I sit on the board of Leia, and it's only after joining there that I realized that the organization does so much. And that there are so many young people. And now we are seeing it, that people are getting into agriculture and whether it's small stock or whatever. And we are seeing that the government is saying, guys, food security is a big issue. We can't be importing 95% of what we consume. And we saw during COVID, when supply was constrained out of South Africa, that things would go for long periods without them coming through because they were prioritizing themselves. And yes, now we are going through these birthing pains where the border is closed and we don't have potatoes. But have you seen in the shops, potatoes are there?
Potatoes are there because we needed the patience. But
So
I'm proud of the government for staying strong for that, actually.
Swaziland went through 18 to 24 months, I'm told. Where they went through the same thing. Close the border, struggle. But now they're net exporters. If you look at Israel is a small little strip in terms of the country. They are net exporters as well. So we really need to, Botswana, I believe, right now, as an entrepreneur, not just in the creative space, but as an entrepreneur, is open for those who are willing to be patient, to go through the process.
Put in the work.
Go and take advantage of all the different government organizations which have been set up to assist people so that you learn. So yes, you can be an entrepreneur, and again, the question of leadership. Is somebody born an entrepreneur? I honestly believe that not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur.
Yes, I think so.
It's the reality. That's why I'm not saying everyone should go and do it. But there are certain people who
have it.
But it needs to be enhanced through training,
support, and
through mentorship, through support, etc. And I believe, some people have criticized government from setting up a ministry of entrepreneurship, whether that is right or wrong. But the idea behind why they have set it up is the right one. What I think it should expand to is we should be working with the Ministry of Basic Education as well, or Ministry of Education now it's called. Should also be involved
in
that
the education starts.
Absolutely, because that's where it starts. It needs to start at the right foundation level. And why? You start it, and it's through interactive games.
It doesn't have to be uptight.
No, this is in the beginning, it's games, and you're teaching them. If you see what they're doing in the private schools, already they're teaching these kids at a young age. Then, as they grow, those who naturally want to go this way will go that way. Those who don't want to will go a different route. But that foundation, just like how we're all forced to do maths and English and whatever,
we should include it.
So the Ministry of Entrepreneurship is good that they will do
that
at this level. But I think if we really, and to change things takes a generation. That's 20 years. If we say today, the young child who is born, in terms of the whole STEM curriculum, and we introduce that at a primary school level, in 20 years' time, and that's not a long time from now, you will have a completely different generation
Yeah. And also, if you also not only focus on that, but also focus on sports entrepreneurship,
Absolutely.
all that, so that it's not only about maths and English and sciences.
Absolutely. And that's the beautiful thing is that entrepreneurship, I went for an open day at my daughter's school, and we met the teacher who teaches them business studies.
Yeah.
And he was saying, I'm so happy that they are now teaching this, because it doesn't matter whether you're going to become a doctor or this or whatever. Business applies everywhere.
So even as a doctor, yeah.
No, so like you said, if you're a really talented sportsman and you end up going to play
in the NBA,
or playing football for Man U or whatever, because you understand business, even when you engage an agent, you are talking to an agent saying, these are the goals that I want to achieve as a business.
Because you've been taught this.
Yeah,
from the foundation.
From the foundation.
My gosh, thank you for this, Dumi. We're going to go for a break. We're coming back to this conversation. We'll be right back, guys. Hey guys, welcome back to Suero TV as we are having a conversation with Dumi. Dumi's been such an interesting one, such a depth one. You guys, I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. So Dumi, let's continue with our conversation. I want us to talk about the culture that you've created in your business. What is it? What kind of culture do you have in your business?
Well, I always think things like this, it's best to ask the people who I work with, who I've worked with, because I think some of these things, like building a culture or whatever, generally go with the type of person that you are, So I've found that because I'm naturally a very talkative person, very inquisitive, I tend to really get to know the people I work with very well. So the relationship, yes, is professional, but I end up getting to know the person beyond the 8 hours. So I'll know about their parents, I'll know where they're from, I'll know about their children if they have children, I'll know about their interests, their struggles, etc. And I believe that when you're a leader who just is naturally empathetic to people, because of that connection and they feel comfortable with you, if ever there's something that they're unhappy with, whether it's within the organization or it's something outside, they feel free to be able to approach you and have a discussion with you. And through that open dialogue, you find that things then improve within an organization. So I'm very, very relaxed. I in the workplace, I don't try and make everyone know that I am the boss or whatever.
I've seen you in action.
And I love also an environment where you empower people. I do not believe that by hoarding all the knowledge, for example, or being the smartest person in the room amongst my subordinates actually makes me the best leader. I actually believe that I should have department heads who are stronger than me in their field of expertise. So the sales and marketing manager, I can't know more than them,
it's their expertise.
Exactly. So I then enjoy empowering them so that they are able to make decisions, learn from mistakes, and grow from those mistakes. But one thing that I really am strict about is that when it comes to business or to work, one must deliver on that, and then you can relax and have fun after you are done.
Let's do the job. Let's focus.
Let the job be done.
Yeah.
And once that is done and everyone is happy, the reward will come. But I think I take customer service as key. My background is sales. So for me in sales, obviously, we always talk about finding business is difficult. but retaining it is even more difficult. And how do you retain clients so that they don't become once-off customers but become long-term customers? It's through how you service them. So basically, I think it's important that customer service, understanding that the way you deal with a client or a customer is what determines whether you will get that repeat business and what distinguishes you from your competitors. And I think it's one of these things that we see in a lot of service-based industries where we always say, when you go to a restaurant, and say in South Africa or wherever, and then you go to a restaurant sometimes here, the
experience is different.
It's completely different.
I do understand exactly what you mean. And I think this is also the problem that we have in our country in terms of the customer service and how we don't take customers as king. I feel like this is the downfall of our businesses, the downfall of our employment, also contributes to our happiness, because I feel like when you give great customer service, it's also a very fulfilling thing when you actually treat the customer as king, treat them well. You also feel really good. Your business gets recommended. You get recommended as the employee as well, who actually just excels at making sure that the customer is king. Thank you so much for touching on that, because I cannot continue overstressing the point and also trying to share with Batswana the importance of treating the customer as king.
We used to have like when I was still with Yarona FM, I'm sure it's still there now, but we would have a PMS in place, performance management system. And one of those key things that we measured to reward people as well in terms of bonuses was that even with the lady at reception, I would make her understand that the way you answer the phone, the way you greet people as they come in, you are probably the most important person in the business.
The first part of call.
Because if the experience is terrible on the phone because you're unprofessional, or somebody comes in and you're not welcoming, you don't smile, you don't whatever, that is their first experience. You are the gatekeeper. So I would say to them that don't ever look at yourself and say, oh, well, I'm just a receptionist, or I'm just a cleaner. If somebody walks into the premises and they're not spick and span, it says to them, can these people really take care of my brand if they don't really care about their environment type of thing? And we're able to inculcate that. I used to be so proud, and I'd say this to anyone. I say, call Yarona FM. If the phone rings more than twice, I'll give you 100 pula. And I would go anywhere. Like now, I'd say to you, let's test this. And you dial Yarona FM's landline, and it would go tring, 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 and you'd hear Yarona FM, good morning. And something that small, and that we learned from Pesi Raditla, who was the first station manager. Something that small was so impressive to so many people, because when you then meet them, they're like, wow, you know how many times you call places and the phone rings until it cuts?
Many places, including hotels. Including hotels.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact. So, Dumi, what are your shortcuts to successfully handle frustration and stress?
Shortcuts.
Okay.
I know. I'm just. Because I always tell people, when you're a salesman by nature, is that you are a natural optimist. You can have meetings with a prospective client. You meet, and it looks like you're going to sign this deal. Just before you sign, they say, hey, we're good to go, but unfortunately, budgets have been cut. Or you go the whole month, everything is flying, you've been promised a sale, and you know what, okay, with that sale, I've met target, I'm getting my commission. You don't meet the target because of one order. Now it's next month, it's May. You have to start afresh. You can't give up hope. You cannot allow yourself to get into a place where you are depressed. Because, hey, forget about April, you're now in May.
We're in May now.
And it's a clean slate, because that's the thing with sales. Even if you meet your target in the month of April, I already won. May. It's a brand new month. Here we go again.
Win the new target.
So I think you're just naturally, when you're a salesperson, you believe, hey, this month I haven't made target for the last 2 months, but this is the month. I've been putting in the work. I've been meeting the people. I've been sending out the proposals. So I think I'm just naturally an optimist. So when things happen, obviously I get frustrated as a human being. But I think I then quickly self-counsel to say, hey, this is the situation.
Yeah.
And this is my belief in life. I believe no matter what it is, whether it's in business or outside of your life, I believe God only allows things that he knows you can handle. And it's the lesson that you take out of that thing that is most important.
Yeah.
So in the work environment, something happens, it frustrates you. If the focus is on this frustrating thing, instead of, hey, what am I meant to learn out of this thing here? I did not plan as well as I should have. This was not the right person. I didn't assign the right person this thing here. It's that lesson of that situation that then helps you to get better. So I never get into a situation where for long periods I'm down or whatever. I get frustrated, I get upset. I then quickly counsel myself and say, okay, let's move on. How do we move on from this? What's the positive that can come out of this here? And I think if you're a leader and people see that, or you don't dwell on things. Somebody has done something wrong, you said, but you shouldn't have done that. And then you move on. And they're shocked because they're thinking, has he really moved on? And not over every 2 weeks, you consistently remind the person of, hey, and you don't move on.
Yeah.
You truly move on. You say, that's okay, things haven't gone as planned. How do we fix, how do we correct, and what do we learn from this?
Yes, absolutely. Who is your greatest support when facing hardships in business?
It's two things. I think my best support is my wife.
Yeah.
My wife and I met in 1995 at university, and we were friends first before we started dating.
Did you UCT?
Yes. We were friends first before we started dating, and then we dated at varsity, and then she went back to Lesotho and I came here, but we continued dating long distance. And then after dating for 10 years, we then got married. So we've been together since 1995.
That's a long time. How many years is this?
I think it's nearly 30 years. So we've grown up together. So you can imagine. Literally. I was 19 when I got to varsity. She was 17.
She's never dated anybody else.
No. So now I'm 46.
Amazing. Yeah.
So she's really like my friend. We've really grown together. And she's much smarter than me. So it's nice. I then can bounce off things from her. Yeah. She's a leader in her own right. So she understands the challenges of leadership. So that's my greatest support overall in life, including in business.
Yes.
Obviously, then I've got business partners as well, and I think one thing that I learned in my journey in business is that the best business partners, so people will say, okay, you want to form a business, look at the different skill sets.
Not necessarily.
This one is good at marketing. This one is good at this at admin. So let's form a company. What I've learned over time is that, yes, those things matter, but are not the most important thing.
Yeah.
Go into business with people who you share the same values with.
Because
the values are what will carry you through the difficult times.
Yeah.
If you don't have the same value system, that will lead to you guys having contention. Because there will be a problem.
Yeah.
And in terms of how to address that problem, you will have conflict because this one feels, no, there is a way of doing business nowadays. And the way of doing business is that you have to give a brown envelope, for example. And you say, no, we can't do that.
We don't do, and we're all in agreement of no brown envelope.
Or no matter how difficult business is,
Yeah.
when somebody approaches and say, I can give you this account, but I want this instead.
Yeah.
And you know what, this one account will change things around, but you're able to say no. And you know that your partners will support that decision because you share the same values.
Yeah.
As human beings, first and foremost, not just business values, as human beings.
Yeah.
I was reading a quote from a little story about, I think it's Whitey the Swan, but one of these big guys from South Africa. He was saying, you can never trust a man in your business, a man who cheats on his wife. And you think, well, but what's that got to do?
The values.
Yes, because so it's like, yeah, so if I have a CEO in one of my companies who I know cheats on his wife, I cannot entrust him with one of my businesses.
Yes.
And you think, but where do these two things mix, whatever?
Yes.
But he says, if this guy can cheat on his wife, why do you think that he won't cheat on you in your business?
Yeah.
You say, I can't trust a man like that. And then it's like, wow, okay.
It's the value system.
The value system as a human being, not just, is so important because invariably it will infiltrate into how you do business.
Yeah, absolutely. This is so refreshing. Yeah. Thank you for that, Dumi. And also the part that you mentioned about your wife and the importance of alignment. I was reading, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. There's a part that he talks about the importance of ensuring that your partner is in alignment, because this will definitely affect you in your business, in your career, in your life, everything. So if you have a partner that supports, literally not necessarily supports you to go do the business, but supports you, we come back with bounce ideas, you're able to, have perspective, especially if you're stressed out from work. No, absolutely. What motivates you?
I just believe that we are all born with a purpose. And they say the day that you discover what your God-given purpose is in life, it's probably the greatest day ever. Because then whatever you do is driven by that, to attain that. And no matter what happens, it will drive you, it will navigate, it's your compass, it grounds you, this purpose. So for me, that's what drives me. I mentioned that when we did our marital counseling, one of the things the pastor said to me was, what's your vision? And I said it then. And she said, it's important that your wife understands this right now before she signs up for marriage. So that she supports you in this
vision.
In this vision, this journey of yours. And I truly believe that media can be such a powerful tool if used correctly and in the right hands. And I believe I am in media for that I would love to see our platforms being a positive contributor towards a culture that our children, as they come into this culture, they will not only embrace it, but will perpetuate it to the next generation. But if the culture is one of unhappiness, of always complaining, of not having gratitude and counting our blessings, that's going to perpetuate to the next generation. And I believe media has got the ability to influence and change culture in the right direction.
So we need a media change in terms of mindset, be more optimistic. Like you were saying earlier, that this is what Yarona FM does. We really think about how we're influencing the youth and the way that they think. You are now encouraging other media to also do the same, so that we have a more optimistic culture.
Absolutely. And it doesn't matter whether you are a more we are a predominantly music-driven station. But it doesn't matter even if you are more talk-focused. Yes, cover the difficult issues. Ask the hard questions. But always, there's always a bright side. Yes, there's the stories of the increasing
prices
and smash and grab at the traffic lights. But if you look for them, there are good stories of guys who've turned their lives around, who used to do smash and grabs. So cover this, but then find this guy here. And that must be the final thought. It always says, if I'm sitting with you and we are doing your performance appraisal, and I start off by talking about the good stuff and finishing off about the negative, what remains in your mind is the last thing.
So always start with and then end with the positive. That's the strategy.
When reviewing a ministry, or you bring in a minister to say, first 100 days minister, new minister of entrepreneurship, you said you will do this, whatever. Let's start off for what are the things that you haven't been able to do. Let's finish off with what are the things that you have done, managed to achieve in these 100 days. So when people, the last thought is, wow, but hey, yes, he hasn't reached all his goals, but he has reached 80%. The problem is that if you start with the 80 and you finish with the 20.
Yeah.
What remains
is what has finished.
Why these guys have failed. He hasn't done this, whatever.
Yes.
So I've just learned that in life, just dealing with people that, like I said, just at that level, or when just doing a performance appraisal, even if somebody's performance has been 95% good, if you leave the 5% negative to the end, that's all. And this person would meet you and say, Mr. Lopang, that time really
that's all they had.
that's all they had.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, but don't you remember?
The positive that I said.
But
I think this is in every area of your life, even at home, how you raise your kids, how you talk to your partner, how you talk to your business, how you talk to your employees.
Absolutely.
Dumi, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
For today. You've been such amazing. Do you have any last words, for the viewer out there? But you've shared so much. Just in short, any last words for the viewer out there who aspires and admires who you are as a person? Yeah.
I just want to say, I believe that where I am today is truly by God's grace, because I'm just from
You're a messenger.
I'm from a middle-class family. My parents are both teachers in Peak, and I've been blessed enough to be where I am because even when I was just an employee at Yarona FM before I became a shareholder, that was never my mentality. This thing, don't work as if you're working for your father's company.
Yeah.
I gave 110%. Why? Because it was always about brand Dumi. So when I would strive for excellence, it wasn't about my boss, where I work, but it was about me. And truly, I believe if we all sort of adopt that attitude, that it's about you, and you never know who's watching, where the opportunity. So I became a shareholder because somebody who wanted to invest, or somebody, when the opportunity to invest in Yarona was there, somebody identified me and said, we want you to be part of our consortium to buy out the majority shareholder. Why? Because they had seen that even though this guy was just an employee, was the work ethic, the attitude. And that's how I got invited by these guys. And
it comes to you when you put in the work.
Absolutely. So let us be, as a nation, grateful for the opportunities that you can go from anywhere. As long as you can dream big enough and you put in the work. We are blessed in that we have a nation. I mean, we are like an America, but on the African continent.
Absolutely. We're like the dream one. Like you're saying, you go.
And that's why people from other countries come here and thrive.
Absolutely.
And then we
but
call
now
them
we're
names.
just out here.
We call them names.
Because we're not putting in the work. We need to put in the work.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dumi. Thank you so much for the inspiration today. We really appreciate your knowledge today. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this fulfilling episode. Bye for now.